All right, let me change gears now, again to another topic here. This one might be a little bit more fun for you. If you are out there and you are traveling the social networks, if you're visiting Reddit, if you're on any of the other forums, you may have run across a character by the name of Pepe and KEK. If you are in the underscore Donald over at Reddit, this is a good place where you're going to see a lot about Pepe and KEK. So I thought, for the fun of it, I'd bring you this article here, The Truth About Pepe the Frog and the Cult of KEK. The real story behind Hillary Clinton's cartoon Nazi frog will blow your mind. I'll cut right to the chase. Pepe the Frog isn't a white nationalist symbol. Pepe the Frog isn't a harmless meme propagated by teenagers on the internet. Pepe the Frog is in fact the modern-day avatar of an ancient Egyptian deity actually resurrected by online image board culture. Does that sound like the most batshit crazy thing you've ever heard? Well, strap in, friendo. We're in for one hell of a ride. The origins of Pepe the Frog. The precise origins of the Pepe the Frog, like all image board memes, obscure and unimportant. All you really need to know is that sometime around 2010, a sad-looking cartoon frog began to trend among posters on 4chan.org and similar underground image boards. Shortly after, the age-old piece of online vernacular used to express laughter, LOL, fell out of favor on these sites. In its place, a new slang term of synonymous meaning rose to common use. KEK, K-E-K. The origins of this trend are much more important. It comes from an odd technicality involving the Korean language and the popular video game World of Warcraft. Keep that in mind for later. And so just like that, two seemingly unrelated elements that would go later to give life to a deity were arranged in piecemeal fashion, but they remained dormant for several years, up until Donald Trump in the 2016 election. By this time, Pepe the Frog had become the unofficial mascot for 4chan's political discussion board, a highly despised corner of the internet fittingly entitled Politically Incorrect. /POL / is a place where the unspoken outsiders of millennial culture gather en masse. Here you'll find the lonely and the depressed, the socially inept, the generational dropouts, and all shades of disenfranchised youth, every one of them united with an unshakable underdog mentality that pervades the forums every kilobyte. To call this place a white nationalist or alt-right message board is categorically incorrect. /poll is, above all else, a place where our society status quo is mercilessly challenged. It's a melting pot for well-meaning freethinkers and misguided madmen alike. It's a place of chaos. So when Donald J. Trump strolled onto the political scene in 2015, it was a match made in heaven. He immediately became Poll's candidate of choice. And it wasn't long before Trump was mated with Poll's beloved mascot in typical image board fashion. And then something very strange began to happen. One last thing you need to understand about image board culture is dubs. Every post in 4chan and similar venues comes with an 8-digit numerical stamp. This number represents the post entry position in the entire posting lineage of the image board. With the amount of traffic these sites get, the last couple of digits of this number are essentially a random roll. When a poster gets repeated digits, it's called dubs, trips, quads, or so on. Since a poster can't know their post number until after they've submitted the post, it's common for people to bet the contents of the message on the occurrence of repeating digits. When they never prove successful, a get has been made and the stroke of luck is celebrated. Out of this practice, a strange phenomena began to take place on Poll, discussion threads associated with Trump displaying noticeably frequent gets. It wasn't long before all of these seemingly random elements discussed so far became irreparably tied together with image board culture. Pepe the Frog now is the unofficial mascot. Donald the Trump is the overwhelming candidate of choice. Repeating digit post numbers or gets, and KEK, used as an expression of delight, particularly in response to Trump's trolling of the establishment, as well as reaction to the unlikely gets in general. And a god was born. Here's the coincidence where it starts to get weird, the queer coincidence of KEK. Soon it became all the rage on Poll to hail Trump as nothing less than God's chosen candidate. But which God's chosen candidate exactly? The obvious answer is KEK. Remember how we learned that KEK the mem came from the obscure Korean language automatopoeia, completely independently from Pepe the Frog? Well, it turns out KEK is also and always been an ancient Egyptian deity, a frog-headed one. Quite the coincidence, wouldn't you say? A little, perhaps, you reply. A little indeed, but that's just the very tip of the synchronicity iceberg. That's just where the unfathomable string of coincidence begins and where it ends. We just don't know. Day by day, this is all getting stranger. The second major coincidence can be found when one looks at what KEK stood for among the ancient Egyptian pantheon. KUK, K-U-K, also spelled KEK or Keku, is the deification of the primordial concept of darkness in ancient Egyptian religion. Like all four dualistic concepts of Ogdad, KUK's male form was depicted as a frog or as a frog-headed man, and the female form as the snake or the snake-headed woman. As a symbol of darkness, KUK also represented obscurity and the unknown, and thus chaos. Also, KUK was seen as which occurred before light, thus was known as the bringer in of light. And who else at this point has been declared the bringer of light into the world by enthusiastic supporters? Well, there we go. It gets even weirder. KEK's hieroglyphic spelling in an ancient Egyptian. It bears an undeniable resemblance to certain something. The statue of KEK. Okay. Says a person using a computer, like say, to post on an image board. So see, we're having something similar to this. Also called Cult of KEK, aka Mem Magic, to concrete form. This new digital faith is summed up neatly in this image, passed around in all the major image boards of the day. Okay, it gets weirder. Pepe KEK emerges in plain sight, September 11, 2016. Now polls users were quite seriously directly attributing all strokes of luck for the Trump campaign, all strokes of misfortune for the Hillary campaign, to their benevolent, frog-headed deity that spoke to them in dubs. That all came to a head September 11, 2016, when three major mind-blowing events transpired within 48 hours of each other. 1. Hillary Clinton fainted or nearly fainted in New York. The overwhelming sentiment of the poll, still reeling from the event, is captured 2 days later in this post. I didn't believe in magic at first. I thought they were all joking. Then Trump won his first primary, and I thought, hey, that's a coincidence. Then he became the candidate, and I thought things were getting weird. Now Hillary's getting sick, and the media is talking about Pepe. It's clear as day your memes are messing with the fabric of reality. Okay, number 2, Hillary Clinton literally declares Pepe the Frog an enemy of the state. Here's a short version. Pepe is a cartoon frog who began his internet life as an innocent meme enjoyed by teenagers and pop stars alike. But in recent months, Pepe's almost entirely co-opted by the white supremacists who call them the alt-right. They've decided to take Pepe by adding swastikas and other symbols of anti-Semitism and white supremacy. What can I or anyone else hope to add here? How bizarre does this reality get? How deep does it go? Or, oh, I see how deep. Number 3, really freaking weird. KEK Pepe's musical anthem is discovered on YouTube. Now get a load of this. While all of this was happening, 1 or 2 anonymous 4chan contributors discovered an old track from the 80s on YouTube. A track stamped all over with a very familiar face. Pepe. That's right, folks. B-side vinyl by performer Pepe, supporting a frog with a magic wand. A frog. And what's Pepe stand for? Point emerging, probably entering. Probably what our sweet repeating digit gets all about? Probability. What is this gist of KEKism on Paul? Well, he speaks to them through dubs. Their ancient Egyptian gods of obscurity and chaos emerges, enters at points of probability. Feel like that's a stretch? Check out what the full-length vocal album artwork is adorned with. Pepe. Alright, so there's more to this here. Well, let's see. We'll go finish up here. So what the hell's going on? It says most likely chaos magic. You see, one of those core tenets of chaos magic practice, the only mainstay really, is the creation of magic sigils, also called glyphs, to codify the project one's will into the universe. Basically, you make an image that represents your will, desire fueled by powerful emotions or altered states, and the universe will take care of the rest. When a lot of people pool their united willpower towards a single sigil, it's called the hypersigil, and it's exponentially more potent. Millions of little people that browse 4chan have embedded the image of Pepe with their hatred for Hillary's alleged corruption and their hope for Trump's victory in November. Whether they did this consciously or not, it's exactly what happened, and so far the hypersignal seems to be working. Hold up, you're seriously telling me magic is real? Absolutely I am. You must understand, magic probably isn't what you think it is. It's not about wand waving or pentagrams or sacrificing babies. Magic is actually much less involved than that. As a matter of fact, you're casting a magic right now. You probably much always are, whether you like it or not. That's because the real magic comes from plain and simple human attention. How you look at reality shapes in the way that they are now only beginning to fully understand. Ironically, the science of quantum physics is rapidly bringing the reality of magic to light. Shayla Day. In my book, You're Imagining Things, I will tell you how it works and why it works in plain spoken English. I'll also explain how you can use your attention to alter your little pocket of reality in extraordinary ways. Right now, you can find the book there. Okay, so what happens next? Well, most likely, KEK will continue to grow in power and continue to oppose Hillary Clinton and the corrupt political establishment. Will the Lord of Light win over the powers that be? We shall find out very soon. Alright, so very interesting. I thought you might find that to be insightful, because more people are seeing the talk about KEK, the talk about Pepe, as they go from the image boards out into the real world. Can you imagine that Hillary Clinton wants us to take her seriously, yet she declares a cartoon character to be a racist symbol? She goes to war against a meme. Can you believe that? And then we're supposed to take this woman seriously. This woman is out of her frickin' mind. Okay? It's too bad after they chucked her into that van like a side of beef. It's too bad she just didn't stay there, because this woman will just not go away. Just go away already, Hillary. Just go away and don't come back. We've seen enough from you. We've heard enough from you. We don't need to hear from you anymore. Just go away. Just disappear. Okay? We don't want you anymore. You're a disgrace to society and humanity.